Hello, welcome back to Talk Seagulls. We're back down in the Caxton Arms again, and we haven't been down there actually in a very long time, and it's good to be back. But make sure you're liking, subscribing before we get involved, because I was told that apparently we need to start asking people to like the video more, and I'm going to do it now. Like it. Anyway, we're back down there, and we're actually on the back of quite a nice result for once, Luke. It seems like a long time, but you're come down from the rivals actually, but you're over in the Caxton Arms. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, I know. Here in unfamiliar settings for once. Made a transfer, as you say, over to the rivals for one day only. But yeah, good result. I mean, we'll get into the weekend at some point, but yesterday really good result, and I mean, it's against Oxford. You know, you kind of expect us to win, but 6-0, you take it. Zemas with a couple goals, Watson with a goal. Obviously, we'll talk about that, but. Yeah, brilliant result.
Viscagli as well. 4 debut goals. Yeah. I mean, the Viscagli goal, right? I put on the thing, I said, wonder goal. To some people's reaction, people said, that's not a wonder goal. That's not a wonder goal. Maybe just watch it and see maybe there was an element of sarcasm in it when it takes a huge deflection and somehow loops over the goalkeeper. Obviously, I didn't think it was actually a wonder goal. But here we are. That's just Twitter for you. But yes, there is 4 debut goals to talk about in a game where we scored 6, which I didn't see coming. I've got to be honest. I thought it would be a bit tougher, but I saw a lot of reaction from Oxford fans saying they didn't rate their squad at all. And I thought, okay, surely we've got to go and capitalise on this. But yeah, as you say, there are a lot of questions to be had from last weekend against Everton. And for me, I thought the stadium was unbelievable, to be honest. I thought the away end was good. I'll tell you what they've done. They've done a great job of a modern stadium and making it feel retro, if that makes sense. You're really close to this sort of to the pitch. The atmosphere doesn't just get diluted. It's still very tall and it keeps the atmosphere. And I thought it was a really nice job done for once for a modern stadium. But certainly when you say there was things in that game where coming into this game we had questions, but when you look at games like Man United Grimsby, mate, you can certainly see that going to lesser sides doesn't necessarily mean that it's a pushover.
Yeah, I mean, it does help the lower teams when they're playing against Andrea Onana in goal. But yeah, it was surprising, wasn't it? As we said, Everton, not a great result. I didn't really expect a lot from Everton, to be fair.
I get what you mean.
First game in a brand new stadium, they were going to be well up for it. The crowd wasn't as up for it as I thought, but the team were clearly up for it, and Jack Grealish had an absolute blinder, which, I mean, you kind of always expect against us. Yeah. It's always one player always has a brilliant game. But great reaction, I think. As we say, 4 debut goals. That Viscagli won the goal. Goal of the season, I reckon. Maybe Puskas Award. Yeah. To be fair, I actually did see your tweet saying won the goal, and I was like, oh, was it good? I watched it, and I was like, I think he's being sarcastic.
Maybe just an element of sarcasm involved.
Yeah, but yeah, great performance all round, and I mean, hopefully we can push on this weekend.
Yeah, agree. I think when you talk about debut goals, we might as well say about them, because obviously we did score 2 in the first half as well. But to have as many as we did, I think Tommy Watson and Stefanos Zemas, 2 players that we were told would take a long time to get into the squad. We were expecting sort of months until we see these guys. And based on Fabian Hertzler's sort of match reaction, it seems like that still could be the case. He doesn't seem too sort of pressured into using them yet, and I guess to an extent it's a good thing, and you don't want to just kill these players' potential straight away and put too much expectation on them. I get it, you want to settle them in. I think we've done a great job of that in the past, of making sure players have time, but at the same time, when you have a player like Zemas especially, who comes off the bench and puts in quite a performance like that when we're in a position where we've got no secondary striker, I personally, based on that performance, don't see too much harm in just leaving me on the bench at least, and then maybe getting 10 minutes at the end.
Yeah, we spoke about this before the podcast, didn't we? And yeah, I don't City. We could be 2-0 down, right, going into the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
2-3-0 down. That's just a time where to just get them on, give them a few minutes, try and get them slightly up to speed. I know it's going to take a while, and that's fair enough. Watson probably won't take as long because he's played in England, played in the Championship. But you have to give Castulas and Zemas a little bit more time, understandably. But there is literally no harm, especially if we're a couple goals down. We got no hope, really. just chuck them on and see what they can do. Like maybe not Castulas yet, but after that performance, I feel like Zimas sort of deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, he was so Evan Ferguson-like in his run. Very sort of physical striker, had a lot more pace than I took credit for. Finishing was really clinical. I think the second goal, he had so much time, which you probably wouldn't get against a side like Man City or even most Premier League sides, to be honest. And I do understand, again, it was Oxford, it was their second team, really. We can't be too carried away. But the finishing aspect of things was really, really promising. And he still made Championship players look very mediocre in the way he strides forward. And that, to me, is a sign of quality.
Yeah. And I mean, he got the assist as well for Watson's goal, I believe. So 2 goals and an assist. It's not
20 minutes
against any team. That's not easy in 20 minutes. Yeah, coming off the bench against any team, that's not easy. And I mean, as you say, he made it look easy. So I just really don't think there's any harm in giving him a little bit of time. And Watson as well, like scoring a very well taken goal. Just getting him on for a little bit or something. Yeah. Like when Minter's run for 80 minutes and
Mitoma as well. He's played so many minutes.
They haven't slowed down for about 80 minutes. Just give him a chance, innit? Watson scores in the playoff final, gets Sunderland promoted. What's the harm in it?
Yeah.
I know it's going to take some time and it might get a bit frustrating. I feel like a lot of fans will be frustrated about it, especially after the blinding striker performance we saw against Everton. People are going to get annoyed about it. We need to sort of be a little bit patient with them.
Yeah.
But also, I sort of see where some people are coming from.
There's a balance, isn't there, with everything? There's a balance between doing the right thing and sort of sometimes just saying, go on then, just have a go.
Yeah.
And I remember, particularly under Potter, there was a little bit more reservation, wasn't there? And I think with De Zerbi, we went to a whole different spectrum of that, and it was like, go on, just have a go. And sometimes it's counterproductive, sometimes it works really well. I think for example, Simon Adingra, it worked really well. We sort of put him in there, he didn't have much choice, didn't have too much backup. Mitoma got injured and he became a starting regular, and he's obviously got his move to Sunderland, £20 million signing. And then, of course, you have other positions where, maybe with players like Aaron Connolly, for example, he gets thrown in, has his moment, and it sort of just dies down a little bit. But he's become this sort of starting striker. And, you know, I know that was under Graham Potter, by the way. But again, you've got those sort of case studies in the past where maybe we're a little bit more further along the line of do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. You know, Facundo Buonanotte is a good example of a player that has taken a long time to embed, and it looks like he's probably going to go on loan again, from what I can understand. You know, and maybe that's the position they want to have these new players in. But I thought of anyone, maybe, as you say, Kostulas maybe a little bit rawer than Zimas. Zimas was surprisingly good. I think I saw his stuff. He was a very good ball carrier in Nuremberg. But I thought, okay, it's only Bundesliga 2. I don't want to get too excited. You know, he's got a lot of time to go yet. He's only 19 years old. But I thought the way he took the goals was very natural. It's the sort of number 9 finishing you want to see. And quite like you say, it answers questions on last weekend where we had such a sort of horrendous time in front of goal. And not to dig out Danny Welbeck, because it's uncharacteristic of Welbeck. He's not a typical underperformer for us, to be honest. So I wouldn't hold it against him.
The thing is, like, Welbeck's obviously going to be a scapegoat. And, I mean, I'll admit, I wasn't very happy with
You're not going to be happy, of course.
But it wasn't just him. Like, no. I feel like Minter maybe, and Dunk, because everyone has been saying stuff about Lewis Dunk for weeks, and I feel like he wasn't at fault against Fulham and wasn't at fault against Everton. We might have lost against Everton, but I feel like he had a pretty good game all in all and did what he could. We were unlucky against Everton as well, I feel, but it wasn't just Welbeck who played poorly. It was I feel everyone apart from Minter and Dunk were the only ones really that looked like they wanted anything.
I agree.
And fair enough, as I say, Welbeck's going to be the scapegoat. But we shouldn't let that performance sort of define what we think of him for the rest of the season, because he could go and play an absolute blinder against City. And you know, he has these sort of games where he just sort of doesn't do a whole lot in front of goal, but holds up the ball really well. He didn't really do that on Saturday, but I feel like
It was just a really bad performance.
Just all
it was just a
round.
really bad performance. And sometimes that can happen. In Welbeck's case, for us anyway, in Brighton colours, we've rarely seen it. And that's why it probably sticks out in our minds a little bit more. We thought, my God, what's wrong with Danny today, sort of thing. And I wouldn't put the want and need for a striker on Danny's shoulders. I would probably put it more on the club's shoulders, as you've sold a striker, you haven't bought one in. The one you have bought in, you're saying is not ready yet. At that stage of the season last weekend, we had no idea what to expect from Stefanos Tsitsipas. That's why I wanted to hold off this podcast until Thursday, because I wanted to see what to see on at Oxford, and then we've got a couple more days until City. I wanted to wait to not be reactionary. And we've now got another sort of piece of evidence, and this is how I look at football. It sounds really sad, but you've got moments where the larger the sample size, the better the analysis can be. If you've got more sort of minutes to judge, more games to judge, more players to judge, I've got more to be able to react to. I can now see an answer in Stefanos Tsitsipas as opposed to, if Danny Welbeck isn't having a good day like he did last weekend, there is an option there. But if the manager's still saying they're not ready, that to me would probably raise the alarm bell of why. What's the manager being told that we're not? Is there an ongoing problem with any of them? Are they not settled? Because based on the position that we were in yesterday, it didn't look anything like they weren't settled. If anything, it looked like Tsitsipas was saying, come on, this is my time with his celebrations.
Yeah, he took his chances very, very well. And I feel like his first goal, great run. Second goal, took it really, really well.
Yeah.
It was a really nice finish. To be honest, I thought he was going to pass when he did it, but did really well. And it's nice to see someone actually having a go, because
Agree.
I think one of the most frustrating things about Saturday was the fact that it felt like a Potter performance again. We get into the box, you get 4 yards away from goal and you just don't shoot.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I was absolutely raging when it got to the penalty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt like that. And seeing someone who's just kind of got that confidence, and maybe we do need someone young like an Evan Ferguson. And I feel like it's good that he's gone out on loan, to be honest. Like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, why has he gone out? Maybe keep him, see how he does. Gone out on loan. And if we sell him for 40 million, to be honest, I'll be quite happy with it.
Would you?
I would honestly be quite happy with 40 million for him. And I mean, if he shows that he's the best striker in the world in Serie A, maybe I won't be that happy. But I mean, if they want him for 40 million, I'd be all right with it. But yeah, maybe we needed someone sort of similar to him with that sort of confidence, and hopefully we can nurture that a little bit better. I don't really know what happened with Ferguson in terms of his confidence going down. Hopefully he gets it back, because I mean, he looked absolutely unbelievable for a good amount of time. But yeah, Tsitsipas does look sort of the same player as him.
Yeah.
And that, again, in my opinion, is sort of what we need. We just need someone with a little bit of confidence, someone who's going to have a shot, someone who's not going to just mess about with it in the box. And I mean, Welbeck doesn't really do that, but just that performance doesn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence. But also, as you say, wait until Thursday, seeing what happened last night. I feel like I'm probably a bit more optimistic now. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And again, that's why you hold off these things. I think it's always best to wait before you react. And I think when I look at last weekend, I think the biggest problem was the second half was we didn't create enough chances. And that was, I think it blinded a lot of fans the first half to the second, where we created a lot in the first half, did next to nothing in the second. I think the non-penalty XG of the second half was sort of, I didn't even scratch 0.1, which is, to me, a little bit worrying. I was thinking, okay, where's chances coming from? Why have we stopped sort of going for this game? We look like we're just letting Everton do what they want to do to us, and we didn't really offer too much of a fight. We didn't have to make them work too hard to win that game, it didn't feel like. I thought first half was slightly different to that, but it still wasn't the most exciting game. I think the XG looks inflated based on the chances that were there, and that was 6-yard chances. That was sort of shots that were in the box. So obviously that's going to inflate that number and make it look like we should have scored more goals than we did. We should have done even. I think this game, obviously, it was a little bit more exciting because you had someone like Brian Gruder, for example, who gets his first chance in a long time.
He was
electric.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
He looked like a very young version of Anthony Knockaert again. He gives me
nice,
that sort of vibe. Yeah, like a young Knockaert. Maybe if we got Knockaert when he was at Leicester, that's what it would remind me of. And again, great performance from Gruder. I think there's still like the sort of slight naiveties in his game where he needs to iron out a little bit. He, goes for a few little too many things, and for example, that chance in the first half where he should have scored, or he'd take it around the goalkeeper, just hit it with your right foot, mate. But then follows it up a couple of minutes later, and that's the sign of a good mentality, I think, and a good player. He's a very, very exciting player. He's someone that's got so much technical ability. He's got a way of creating chances again that he can do it on his own, and that's what we need.
He at the end of last season, he proper excited me, and I was just like, oh, he's gonna absolutely unbelievable come next season. So I was quite disappointed when he didn't really see a whole lot of him the first 2 games. There wasn't too much going on, but I mean, going back to what I said just now, didn't get filled with confidence against Everton, but that performance against Oxford from a lot of our maybe second side, really, that helps massively, I think. And seeing how good Gruder was sort of makes you think, maybe I was right. Maybe I was onto something. Him absolutely exploding this season, and to be honest, he off that performance, if he carries that on, he'll easily be our player of the season, I think. And I get what you mean when you say you get that sort of knockout feel about him, because he looked like he had a lot of that, he looked like his dribbling especially was a lot better yesterday. I know what you mean by maybe his decision making needs to change, but then he's young. Yeah, it's just one of those things, and that gets ironed out with time. But if his mentality stays the same, he could easily be one of our best players, or maybe even our player of the season.
Agree. He's certainly there for the breakout, I think, Gruder. And he showed it at the end of last season. And this is sort of the point I wanted to bring to you is, last weekend, we brought him in, I think, the 84th minute. And you're thinking, in a game where we've created next to nothing in this half, someone that can do that to Oxford, and obviously we saw him do it to Liverpool last year. We know he can sort of create a chance. We know that he's an electric player. We know he's one of our most exciting talents in the squad. And it just felt really strange when you looked at that bench and you thought, there's nothing really there that we're going to bring on to make any sort of damage in this game. And we just wrote the game off as a defeat. And I think when you then see that, completely conversely now, and we sort of see all these young players that are broken through, I thought maybe with Tommy Watson's case, maybe he's not quite ready for first team football. I can probably see that in him. His finishing was fantastic. The goal was brilliant. You can clearly see he's not afraid to do that. And I think I saw the Sunderland under-21s manager was talking about, or one of their coaching staff, I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about he's been working on that finishing for so long, off the left side, cutting onto his right foot and curling it into the corner. And he's done it obviously in the playoff final, and now he's done it for us in his first game. You can see what he can do. He's a man that likes to be clinical, make something happen on his own. And he will become a great player, I'm sure. But still, probably he wasn't quite as much in the game as maybe Zimas was. He didn't quite take full advantage of his role. I thought he was a little bit sort of weak maybe on the left side. I know that's being really, really harsh, but I can probably sympathise and empathise with Fabian a little bit more. Fabian. Sorry, I need to start saying Fabian.
Yeah, Fabian.
God, forgive me, Fabian. If you do watch these, you probably don't. But Fabian Herzler, sorry. I could probably sympathise with him in that sense where, maybe more so Tommy Watson and Charalampos Costulas maybe aren't quite ready yet. Zimas, to me, showed yesterday that he is. At least he's put a very good case across. And Brian Gruder as well has done the same thing.
Going back to Zimas, I understand a little bit maybe why we're trying to ease him in, because he had a lot of injuries last season.
Did he?
Yeah, he had a recurring injury. I think it was something to do with his knee, something to do with his leg or something.
Oh no!
But I do know he had an injury last season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm
sure
about 95% sure that is the case. So I can see why you might want to ease him in. But you talk about easing him in again. 10 minutes at the end of the game, just chuck him on when we need it. If you need a goal or something, just get him on.
I think it's a mixture of everyone. You've got the manager's probably in an unfortunate position in the squad depth, because we've got, as I said, we've got a load of young players that have really, really high potential, could be great players, but they're not quite ready yet. And you've got a few experienced ones, but then obviously in that experience, you've got players that haven't got the depth to then just take off the pitch. So, for example, Danny Welbeck, Minte is now becoming this experienced player, we would say. And Karu Matoma, I think if you take them players off the pitch, you can't replace them with anyone that's probably ready, according to what we're told anyway, right? And I think that's the unfortunate position we're in, is you've got the young players, the experienced players, and then a bit of a grey area in the nows, right? And in the short term, that's going to make you suffer a little bit. You can have results where, like the Everton game, you haven't got the ability to bring the players on the pitch. And whether that's a bad thing on the club for not recruiting differently, or whether that's the manager for not using the players for their time they've got them for, I don't know. There's probably a mixture of both of them, probably, you'd say.
Yeah.
And with Gruder's sense, I'd probably say he should have come on sooner, especially based on the evidence we now got from last night. And maybe that could push his case forward against Manchester City. But I do still think this squad is a very good one. But I think it's probably a little bit less stable perhaps than it was last season, where we had a little bit more depth. You know, say for example, we wanted to bring Matoma off, you could bring a Dinger on. If Joao Pedro was injured, we had Danny Welbeck to cover for him, and vice versa. We probably don't quite have that this season. Purvis Stepinian was obviously our sole left back last year, and now it's looking like it's going to be De Kuiper. I think on the fullback situation, I thought Kadioglu would look really good. I like the amount of ground he covered yesterday. I know it's Oxford, I know it's early, but I thought he covered a lot of ground. I thought he a bit like a Pascal sort of a performance, on left, right, and at fullbacks. I want to say,
his work rate whenever I see him play, he's always very, very good. I thought against Fulham when he came on, could have been better. There was actually a Turkish guy behind me with a big Turkish flag and was just going mental when he came on. He's like, 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he could have been better, but his work rate is always there. And you can see before he got injured, there is a proper player there.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets back up to that. The question I want to give to you actually is...
I like questions to me.
Do you... nice. Yeah, I know. Do you think we need anyone else? Because I feel like the squad is in a really, really good place, but there's a couple places where it could be better. Obviously, fullbacks, but Brighton signing a right back is never going to happen. So, but then again, Vifa has slotted in very, very well, and that's another person who needs a bit of praise is Vifa.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I know he wasn't great when he first started, like last season, but I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Whenever he plays right back, he's absolutely brilliant. I think he maybe could have been a little bit better against Jack Grealish, but then Jack Grealish had like the game of his life.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what my take on Weaver? I think he's a great tackler. I think as far as ball winning goes, he's probably one of the best in the squad for me. And I think that's what you see a lot of right back. He always gets the tackle in. He more often than not he'll come away with the ball, or at least he would have been within a chance of being able to come away with the ball, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think you notably saw it a lot, especially against Grealish and against Everton, against Fulham as well. Where his lack of sort of positional awareness at that position is probably just not quite right. I think you can tell he's a midfielder covering at right back, as opposed to a right back that could play in midfield. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you've got players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, where people said, he's a right back that could play midfield. But then you've got sort of midfielders that are then covering right back, like Hinshelwood, like Weaver. Again, great players, and they can do it because they know that sort of area of the pitch, and they're very intelligent at what they do, especially in Weaver's sense, where he's a great ball winner. But when it comes to probably that positional awareness, being caught out of position, I think it happens fairly regularly, I would say. And I think, for me anyway, I want to see him in midfield. Yeah. I want to see him there. I want to see... I'm sorry to Matt O'Reilly. I thought he's not had a great start to the season.
I thought he was all right against Fulham, to be fair.
Did you?
But then... Everton... No.
No. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, if I'm to be harsh, I'd put Weaver in midfield. Either Ferdy can try and play on the right. You've got Veltman now back available, so there's an option there. If De Kuiper looked a little bit here and there, didn't he, against Everton? If City's a bit too much of an ask, I wouldn't be against putting Kadioglu that side either. I think he's more than capable to cover both ends.
I think we're trying to be careful with Kadioglu, though, just because of all the injuries, which is fair enough. You don't want to absolutely do him in for
it'd be heartbreaking, especially after last year.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny about Ferdy? I saw him in a lift.
Just in a lift.
No, it was in the hotel, but it turns out I was in the same hotel as the players at Everton.
Oh, really?
So I got into the lift going out for breakfast, and I was like, oh my god, it's Ferdy Kadioglu, and like enough time to be able to say like, because we got in there and he's like, good morning. I was like, morning, you all right? Like, yeah. I think he probably could tell that I was looking at him a little bit, and I was
like a schoolgirl. Just
I was like, oh yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, no, what are you I said, looking forward to the game. Like, that sort of small chat and whatever. And he's like, yeah, it should be good. I said, we're Brighton fans, by the way. I was like, oh, yeah, Brighton fans. Yeah, cool. He said, I think he didn't know that I would actually be a fan, if you know what I mean. I was like, yeah, I'll be in the away end soon. And I said, it's a shame. I said, I was at Liverpool like last year when you got injured. And I said, it's been a long time. It's good to see you back. Said, oh, thank you.
I was at Liverpool when you got injured. Yeah, cheers for reminding me, mate. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, how horrendous thing to say. And then he walks out, I think, and then De Kuyper comes in. And then I think it was Scheuermann, the ginger sort of coaching staff guy, and I was just like, hello. Really awkward exchanges, but no, it was really funny.
You met our whole fullback.
Yeah, like I got the full on like introduction to, but it was really funny. I thought, you know, of all people to just walk in and see like first thing in the morning, you're not expecting to see Ferdy Kadioglu, but you're going to see on the pitch later in the day. It just felt really strange. But to answer your question, sorry.
So yeah, we went on a massive tangent.
Yeah, we did. Sorry, but to answer your question, I didn't forget. Do you want me to be harsh or do you want me to be like nice?
Right. Say whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be
the
a
reason
mixture.
for the podcast, mate. Come on.
I'll be harsh and say I think maybe fullbacks could do it help. I think up front it depends on Zimas's condition. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing us get another striker. I think if Hertzler is saying that he's definitely not ready yet, then I think we need a striker, no-brainer. If there's a free agent out there or whatever, go get him. It's not that we're broke, you know what I mean? So go get something done. We've only got a few days left of the transfer window anyway. I've seen the links to Mainoo, and I wanted to mention this because this would be a joke of a signing. If we signed him, it would be a ridiculous signing.
Imagine that, Belieber and Mainoo.
Even if it's a sweetener for them to get Belieber next year, I would not be against it.
Well, he's going to leave next year anyway.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Like, I feel like we all sort of...
If we get a year of them two together, it would be serious.
And as much as I love Ayari, and I feel like last season, absolutely brilliant, right? And I feel like he started the season off all right.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Mainoo just swapping around, or like
with Weaver as well.
Oh,
like that's a really, really strong midfield. And yeah, as you say, sorry to Matt O'Reilly, sorry to Yassin Ayari, but like if that sort of opportunity comes around where you can sign a player of that caliber, I think that's when you just go, yeah, just get him. Like we'll work it out. You know what I mean?
I just find it mental how he's not getting game time.
Yeah,
it's absolutely mental. He's one of their best midfielders.
I know,
so good.
But don't say it too loudly, because maybe Ruben Amorim would see this somehow. But no, I think
you're a joke, Ruben.
I think if Mainoo comes about, you go get him. If you can do it, if it's logical. No, not even if it's logical. If he's there and he's for the taking, go do it.
The wages 100%. Are going to be. Yeah, the wages are probably going to be mad.
But we did it for Ansu.
I was going to say, yeah. Oh God, I wish he would. Just wish we could go back and didn't get like injured so much. And
yeah, in another world, Ansu Fati would have become a world beater at Brighton. In a parallel universe, we'd have seen number 10 Ansu Fati here.
I remember his goal against Ajax at the Amex. So good. And then like a couple of weeks after,
but you could see the quality. So I thought it was obvious, but like there's just something in him didn't let him do it.
And he was getting injured so often as well. Like it was just pretty much every couple of weeks would have another injury and then would be on the sidelines again. It was gutting, wasn't it?
Heartbreaking. It's a shame because he was there.
That does show we can sign players like that. That's the thing. And we will go out there and, I mean, if that sort of player becomes available, and how De Zerbi convinced him to join the club, I genuinely don't know.
That's probably the biggest thing. Have we got the pull now to attract a player like Kobbie Mainoo to Brighton?
It did say when I was looking at it on Twitter earlier that he needs to be convinced, and fair enough, he'll probably wants to go to a team that's got European football, which, you know, I just don't really want to mention the fact that we don't have European football, but
most teams that he could play for would. You know what I mean? I think if anyone out there is smart, I saw links to both Madrid clubs. I saw links to Tottenham. I saw links to Bayern. I saw links to pretty much most clubs that are playing in Europe this year. And I thought, surely he goes there. But I would understand if they don't want to give him to a Tottenham or a Big Six club.
I saw the link to Tottenham and I was like, there's absolutely no way they give him to Tottenham. Absolutely no way.
They'd be stupid to.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like us would be good. And I feel like they'd want to do that. Because again, sweetener for Belieber. maybe, and they'll be like, oh.
If we got an option in there, if it was a loan with an option, that would be a ridiculous piece of business.
Loan with an option, we sell Belieber.
Even if it's 50 million. 50 million's a bargain, I think.
Yeah, for him, yeah. I mean, I know English tax as well, but...
60. I think I'll do Belieber half price next year.
I still wouldn't do Belieber half price.
Yeah, but listen, hear me out. If you've got Belieber and Mainoo with each other this season in Brighton colours, Mainoo on loan, Brighton, Belieber alongside him, I think that's enough. If that is more than enough to get you into Europe this year, if you cannot say that's not enough to get Europe.
Yeah, that is a good point. But it is so over for me and you because we haven't even put an offer in or anything, and we've already fallen in love with a loan player.
Yeah, fair.
We are done.
Fair. But
so over.
Here we are. That's a one to think about. If it happens, it happens. But you asked me who I want to bring in, and I named the name, and that was linked to us publicly. I think, maybe right back, maybe striker. I think midfielder is definitely not a necessity, but based on how open we are on the counter, it's definitely an option. Based on that counterpoint, I just want to say, centre-backs wise, it was really nice to see Diego Coppola and Olivier Biscaglia, and obviously Igor as well alongside them.
Olivier Biscaglia's won the goal.
Particularly those two, it was really nice to see them. I thought Biscaglia really showed class. You could see that he was a bit of a level above. I thought he was a really good option for us yesterday. Again, we've had definitely some defensive problems last season. If we've now got options like him and Coppola, I could easily see them being in the first team. It was intriguing to see that Hertzler went for the option of having a back five. I thought maybe that's what he wants to do in the long run with these players.
I feel like that's sort of what we need. We look a bit open at the back.
Yeah.
A lot. And back five, I feel like could really sort that out.
I agree.
But also, can I just say, Diego Coppola, he is absolutely massive.
Isn't he?
He is huge.
He's 21.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I saw him running down the wing against Philip and I was like, Jesus Christ. Massive.
Yeah. When we've got Bournemouth away in a couple of weeks, that's probably the best place you can see the actual size of players because you're so close to the pitch. So you can really see, I remember seeing Valentin Barco a couple of years ago, my dad, and we were like, he looks like a literal little boy.
I know, he's about 5'4", already, yeah.
And I was like, my God, you don't appreciate how young these players look until you go and see them up close. And that's obviously the work of what Hertz has said at the moment, where you've got these players that are so young, you can't use them straight away. And I think I really saw that with Barker. And I mean, I'd imagine, similar when you see Coppola. He's massive. And Belieber as well, the physical difference of the levels that you see with these players. We're only playing against Oxford in championship opposition. But these are players that are in the Premier League for Brighton now. And we're going to play championship teams. And it doesn't feel like 2 minutes ago we were in the championship, really. But you can just see the quality difference, the way they just afford a little bit of space. Biscaglia did it so well. I think Belieber, Diego Gomez, you can just see the class of these players. They don't have to worry quite so much. They won't run quite so much. When they get the ball at their feet, they will be careful with it. And I think it's just quite nice to see it on our foot. It's quite nice to see the quality of players we've got at Brighton now, and you can really see them assert it when they play against lesser opposition like Oxford.
Yeah, you saying about obviously it's been a long time since we've been in the Championship. It still feels weird seeing that sort of change when we were so used to us growing up watching us.
Yeah, I mean we're EFL kids, aren't we? Really,
yeah, we're pretty awful. And then we've been in the Premier League for the best part of a decade now. Still feels weird seeing these sorts of players. And especially going back to that Ansu Fati transfer, seeing a transfer like that happen. 10 years ago, you never would have thought we'd get someone from Barcelona.
No, I agree.
Mental, isn't it?
And I agree. And this is why it's always important for perspective and stuff. But at the same time, I always try and look forward. But But I feel it's easy to forget I was a Brighton fan in school. We were rubbish. Everyone else supported Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, and I was the only Brighton fan. You're probably the same. I mean, you went to school in Brighton, didn't you? So
I went to school in Wales as well. So
did you? That's mental.
I lived in Wales for 4 years, so that was always.
Well, you're certainly the only Brighton fan out that way.
Yeah. There was only one other person that knew who Brighton actually were, and that was my maths teacher. So he used to stay after lessons and just talk to him about Brighton all the time. He always used to ask me what I thought of games and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's a nice little throwback.
Yeah.
Big ups, Mr. Richard Allen.
There you go. Make sure he sees it. But it is crazy when you think about how far we've come at the same time. But just while we're on the subject now as well, I just wanted to put a really big appreciation piece out for Jason Steele. It's very rare that we can have a 6-0 game. I saw Twitter, I think Owen's put it on Twitter. It's very rare you get a 6-0 game and we're talking about the goalkeeper as being man of the match. And I thought it was superb.
10 saves, wasn't it? Something
was
like
it that many?
I think it was like about 10,
Yeah, I can imagine it. And they're big saves as well. Like they're wide open spaces that sometimes we're giving the ball away very cheaply. And again, it's important to see the negatives as much as it is the positives. And there was chances there for Oxford. It was a 6-0 game, but there was definitely chances for that to be 6-4.
For them being their second team, I don't think they played all that. I mean, it was 6-0, and I don't think they played that bad. They had something like 12, 13 shots or something like that. They had chances, and their chances were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason Steele, that double save, the one where he's like full stretch and then
Belaber's like full on clearance on the line as well afterwards.
Lovely to see that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of just going through someone's hand. Not naming any names.
It would have been very old Brighton for that to either go through Steele's hands or Belaber to just sort of trip on the line with it and then fall into the back of the net, as we've seen so many times in these sort of moments. But it was great to see Steele, and it definitely raises a question as to whether Bart Verbruggen or Jason Steele again. It's like we've come back around full circle. But I thought everything that happened yesterday, he was on the right end of it, and his passion, his energy, he's proper Brighton, isn't he? He really gets it.
And he hates character.
Me, Why does he hate you?
When we drew with City to get into the Europa League, we saw all the players after me getting photos, and I put my arm around him and I was just like, "Oh, Jason, Sunderland is shit." And he walked off.
Why'd you do that?
Because I was drunk. We just got into Europe, mate. I was absolutely battered. What do you expect me to do? It's literally a live photo of me and him, and you can just see him just go, "Oh no, walk off." It's so funny.
Well, I love Jason Steele.
I love you, Jason Steele,
right now, and I think his attitude, his mentality, the way he's bounced back from his bad Sunderland days, like I just think it's so good. It is so good, and I always gave him praise for the ball with his feet. At his feet, sorry. But it seems like for once in a long time, I can actually really praise just a goalkeeping performance.
Yeah.
Just an old school goalkeeping performance. And I thought he was fantastic yesterday. And it definitely raises a question as to whether we play him or whether we play Bart Verbruggen, who's been, in and out of form, you'd say. I think he's had moments where he's made good saves, but he's certainly had moments where there's been question marks. And again, young player, experienced player. There's always options, I think, in that regard. And that's the weird bit between ready.
I think it's good for Bruggen to have Steele there. You got this experienced goalkeeper who knows, has been through it. As you say, Sunderland days was not great, and Sunderland fans laughing at us when we signed him. But he went through that bad patch at the end of last season and wasn't great. Hopefully it doesn't happen this season. I don't hope he gets dropped or anything. That's not something I want to say. But if he does, it does raise that question of, why doesn't Steele get another chance or anything?
That's the thing with the number 2 goalkeeper, though. Yeah, Rushworth as well. We haven't really seen it. Is he back here then?
I'm pretty sure. I thought he was going out on loan.
So did I.
He might be. We might have to fact check that after.
Might have to fact check that one. Yeah,
but we still got Tom McGill
because I can't remember. Yeah. Oh no, he did go because McGill's the one on the bench. I'm sure he went somewhere. Where did he go? God, my brain's failed me today.
Fact check that for us.
Where's Carl Rushworth? Look it up on Google right now. In the meantime, though, I want to just say some of the comments, some of the chants coming out yesterday. We finally got a new chants, Luke.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my God.
Something different.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the away day that I'm not there for, which is fantastic. All these new chants start coming out. But I thought the Yankuba Minte one at Brentford last year was great. And we finally got a few more new ones coming out at Oxford. We got some for Pascagli, we got some for Brian Gruder. It's very exciting. He is in the Championship. Where's he playing? Coventry. There we go. He's at Coventry. I didn't realise. Thank you, Mir, for that.
Thanks for fact checking.
Yeah. I think I did realise he had gone once you said it. So yeah, Tom McGill's on the bench. Of course he is. But yeah, some new chants as well. So yeah, all round it seemed like a better atmosphere, a better feeling going into a game like Manchester City, where again quality is going to be completely different. But at least we've got a few more answers to the questions that we've had in the first 2 games. So yeah, it's good to just have a bit of a better feeling. I feel like we're back. You know what I mean? We're so back. It's so over. I feel like we've finally started the season. Maybe it's a little bit late. I don't want to just say, this is the one. The biggest things are going to be seeing us in the Premier League. I want to see a performance like that in the Premier League. The first 2 performances have been fairly lacklustre. But it felt like yesterday we just saw a little bit more of us, and yeah, I want to back it. I want to see something, and let's roll on. Let's roll on Manchester City. What are you thinking for the weekend?
Classic Brighton performance, 2-1 to us. Go from an awful performance against Everton to a brilliant performance against one of the best teams in the league. It's what the classic Brighton performance is what always happens. But no, being honest, I feel like we'll be all right. And I just got this feeling, I don't think we're going to lose, but I'm not confident we'll win.
Yeah, a draw would be very good.
A draw would be very good, yeah. And we're in the relegation places at the moment, which is mad to say.
Yeah.
I know it's only been 2 games, but it's still mental to say that we're in the relegation places.
I think it's only the second time it's ever happened.
Yes,
for Brighton since we've been promoted.
Premier League, yeah.
It was the opening or the second weekend of the 2017 era when we first got promoted. It was the last time in the relegation zone. And fast forward to now, this is, of course, the same time. But yeah, I don't think it's unjust. It's obviously doesn't mean anything at the same time because it's a long way to go in the season. But it's certainly a little bit of a mini, very minor wake-up call of thinking you can't play badly because you could lose games and you could end up here. And I think that reaction at Oxford was reassuring. But, of course, take it with a pinch of salt, go into the Premier League and see if we do adapt any of them sort of answered questions, as I said earlier. I think for Man City, they've got certainly a questionable defence. We saw it against Spurs where they can be there for the taking, but obviously Tottenham do have their number. They've done them many times now.
Tottenham always beat them.
Yeah,
especially
for some
away.
Reason. So. Yeah, it's really weird. I think I remember Pep Guardiola saying that it would mean more for him to them winning the Champions League if he could just beat Spurs away. And fair enough. I think they did finally do it in the end, but again, they do struggle against Tottenham, home and away, as you say.
Problem is, James Trafford had a stinker. So you know what that means.
Oh, do you remember that James Trafford performance?
Yeah, I know.
That Burnley performance. You just reminded me.
He was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, didn't he make like 10 saves as well?
Something like that. He was insane.
Yeah.
And you just know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Gone from his worst performance of his career to
I hate how predictable these things are, It's so frustrating, But anyway, let's see if it happens. I'll hold you to it. I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw. What about you?
I'd say probably around the same. There's going to be at least a goal.
Matt O'Reilly rerun.
Oh, that'd be good. That was absolutely brilliant last season. Yeah. I nearly got taken out actually. Liverpool was better though. 3rd goal went in. My brother had his top off and only fell into the row in front. Brilliant.
Brian Gruder to do the same thing. Just let's see what happens. But yeah, Luke, you've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me here at Caxton Arms today. It's been really good. And yeah, I'll see you. Maybe. Will I see you? Probably not. No, not anytime
maybe.
Soon. He might be back. He might not be back. I'll let you know. Luke, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming to Caxton Arms today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and actually like it as well. I wanted to see some comments as well. Let us know what you're thinking a few games into the season. And we'll see you hopefully after Manchester City and we win. We'll see. Goodbye.